Namaste everyone. Welcome to Kathalahari session number 1 by Dr. Vishwanath Ji. Here's a brief introduction about Dr. Vishwanath Ji before we begin. He obtained his PhD from Banaras Hindu University for his thesis titled Srimad Valmiki Ramayane Samvada Vimarshaha in 2018. He has Vidvad Uttama, Master of Arts in Alankara Shastram from Karnataka Sanskrit University, and Acharya, Master of Arts in Phalita Jyotisham from Rashtriya Sanskrit Vidyapeetham Tirupati. His research areas include Sanskrit literature, Ramayana, and Phalita Jyotisham. He has published 3 research papers and has translated 4 chapters of Somadeva's encyclopedia Manasollasa into Kannada. Currently, he is a principal investigator of a research project titled Demarcation of Rāmakathā through Samvada, funded by Indian Knowledge Systems, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Lectures on Mahakavyas in Sanskrit, Bhagavata, and Kuvalayananda in Kannada, and translation of Vedanta Deshika's Paduka Sahasram are some of the projects he is currently involved. Welcome, Dr. Vishwanath Ji.
Namaste. A very hearty welcome to every one of you here. This is a project that we had planned for a very long time, and finally we were able to get it on course. We are very happy to be talking about Rāmakathā, and we will know why Rāmakathā is needed in today's world, what is the relevance of Rāmakathā, and what Rama exactly is, and why Rāmāyana. All these questions will be taken up. The entire Valmiki's Rāmayanam comprises 24,000 ślokās, and we have planned in such a way that every week, that is every Sunday, the story of 1,000 ślokās shall be narrated. So, keeping all these things in mind, without further much ado, let us begin. Apadam apahartaram dataram sarvasampadam lokabhiramam shriramam bhuyo bhuyo namamyaham. So first and foremost, I would like to clarify what is the meaning of the title that we have kept, Kathalahari. Rāmakatha is the story of Rama. Lahari means waves. So we will be enjoying this, we will be listening this, I will be narrating the story in the form of a wave, so that it won't be too much at a time and it will have its ups and downs. It will give us some time to digest, it will give us some time to understand, enjoy, and enhance the Rāmakatha. So Rama is a famous word. We will get to the meaning of the word Rama in the coming minute. First and foremost, what is the meaning of the word Katha? Katha is a famous word, you all have heard. It's a very famous word in Indian diction. Katha means story. It's a form of literature. So what is so special about Katha? There is a fine example which in the Shastras, they usually say it, especially in rhetorics, in Alankara Shastra, they give an example. The example is, if you want somebody to do something, if you want someone to initiate into a particular thing, there are 3 stages of doing it. Take, for example, a mother, when she tries to make her child drink milk, what is the first and foremost thing that she does? She asks the child, or she demands the child, you must drink milk. The child disapproves. So the first category are identified as Vedas. Vedas are like that. They don't care whether we like it or not. They just demand few things of us. Aharahas sandhyam upasita. If this is a Veda Vakya, then there are no exceptions for it. If the Veda says Satyam Vada Dharmanchara, then there are no options for it. We can't ask for exceptions. Only when I am talking to my wife, I won't perform the line Satyam Vada. In all other cases, I will be saying Satyam Vada. I will be following Satyam Vada. No, there are no options like that. In the same way, the second stage, what does a mother do when the child disapproves of it? She gives examples. She says that, see, you have heard about MS Dhoni, right? He's a very good cricketer. If you want to become like MS Dhoni, then you have to drink milk, because MS Dhoni drank milk when he was a child. The child seems to be attracted towards it, but it is not completely bought by it. He's not completely convinced. The kid is not completely convinced. I want to become like MS Dhoni, but at the same time, I don't like milk. So I'm not going to accept your offer. So the second one, the second form of literature are our Puranas. They have plenty of stories in them, isn't it? And they tell us that how to, they give us plenty of examples as well. All we need to do is, if we like it, we accept it. Sometimes we don't accept it. It becomes too much for us. Now, the mother has tried twice and she has failed twice. It's not a good thing to say, especially on Mother's Day, isn't it? So here comes the victory moment for a mother. She decides that she keeps the milk away from her. When the child approaches her, she does not have any cup of milk, a mug of milk in front of her. She is free of it. So the child is attracted. So the child believes that I have finally gained victory over my mother. I have finally been able to convince my mother that I don't like milk, and my mother has accepted it. So the child is joyous and triumphant. Now, what the mother does is forget about milk. Come and sit on my lap. I'm going to narrate you a story. What kind of a child does not like a story? Every child likes a story. The moment the child hears that my mother is going to narrate me a story, the child gets attracted. The child comes and sits on mother's lap, starts listening to the story. And before the story is completed, before the story is finished, even the child does not know when did the child go into kitchen, got itself the glass of milk, and it drank it. And that, my friends, is how literature works. That's how kavyas work. And Ramayana is the Adi Kavya. That is the Param Kavina Madharam. They said that. The words are from Valmiki's Ramayana. When Valmiki narrated and gave this, explained this Ramayana to Lava and Kusha, and asked both those young boys to sing in front of a scholarly sabha, in a sabha filled with rishis and maharshis, Lava and Kusha were asked to sing the entire Ramayana, and they sang it. And they were very much, all the rishis were mesmerized by it. At the end of it, they gave the review. Just like how we read book reviews before buying it, the rishis gave a review of Ramayana. Do you know what is the first sentence that they gave in their review? The first line that they wrote on their review of Ramayana, Param Kavina Madharam. The word Param in Sanskrita means the greatest. This is the greatest repository of poets. In the future, if anybody ever wants to be a poet or understand poetry or to know how the poetry works, all you need to do is study Ramayana. Look into Ramayana. You will get to the heart of poetry. So this is how story works. Story has a very unique place in our tradition. All of us have grown up listening to stories. May be Ramayana, may be some other stories. But without stories, our childhood, our life is nothing. Now, what is that one unique thing that makes story so compelling, that makes everybody attracted towards it? It's very simple to understand, very easy to understand. And secondly, the narrator's words, nor the primary meaning of those words matter the most. What matters the most in a story is the intended meaning. Everybody gets the point when you narrate something in the form of a story. So Bhagavata comes up with a beautiful quotation, which I'm going to say in regard with Ramayana. The Gopikas, you all have heard about Gopikas, the sages. Gopikas were nothing but sages, Maharshis, the great rishis. They were in the form of Gopikas. And when they were with Krishna during the Rasa Leela, they said one thing, Tavakatha Amritam. It's a famous poem. Most of you might have heard this shloka. Tavakatha Amritam Tapta Jivanam. What does a story do? It is like an elixir. It's like a nectar. Tavakatha Amritam. And then it is Tapta Jivanam. For those who are devastated in their life, who are agonized, who find themselves in loads and loads of miseries. Story is like water during that time. When we are too much stressed, Water helps us to calm down and relax. So a story is like that. And Kavibhiriditam. A story is always picked by the greatest minds. The greatest intellectual minds have a unique quality to look out for the stories. Brighter stories. Brighter minds always look out for stories. Others look for facts. Simple minds look for facts. Greater minds, they look for stories. Kavibhiriditam. And then Kalmashapaham. It eradicates all our sins. And maybe this might be a bit superficial to understand in the beginning. It might not be so appealing in the beginning, but we will get to know when we get to the depth of Katha, we will know that this definitely eradicates all our sins and miseries. And then Shravana Mangalam. The great thing about story is we don't have to put too much effort. We just have to listen. Shravanam arthat listening. And the listening itself is very auspicious. And then Srimadatam. It increases our auspiciousness. And finally, Bhuvi Grinantiye Bhurida Jana. It is always famous in the world. It's the story that stands. It's the legacy that survives. So this is how the story works. Hence, Valmiki too decided that I have to narrate a story. Now, this is the importance of story. Now, why Rāmakathā and why not the story of some other person? Ramayana, as we all know, you all have heard the story. It's not like not at all, you are completely unaware of the story. I don't think anybody is. Especially in India, everybody would have known at least the name of Rama for good reasons or bad reasons. The word Rama cannot be removed from the minds and tongues of Indian people. Whether when we are in distress or when being very intellectual, we always prefer to take the name Rama. All right. Then why only Rāmakatha and why not some other person's Katha? The answer is very simple. Because Rama is an epitome of perfection. Rama is an epitome of virtues. Rama is an epitome of dharma. Ramo vigrahavan dharma. This is the statement made by Valmiki in Ramayana. Rama is nothing but a personification of dharma. You want to understand dharma, look no more. Just look at Rama. If you can understand Rama, then you can understand dharma. That's how they both are. They are synonyms. Rama and dharma are synonyms. So, perfection is what Rama stands for. You may have seen at home when a mother cooks, for example, when she's eating dosas, and there's a small one, there's a little one at home. Although a child cannot eat a full dosa, one full dosa it cannot eat, the child cannot eat. But you may have observed that the child demands that it does not get a torn dosa, that which is torn. It does not want a piece of it. It wants a complete one. That's the child's tendency. And that child's tendency tells us a lot of things. That is, basically, we all strive towards Purnata. We all strive towards achieving that fulfillment. We have that aim in our life. Eventually, we lose it out. As we grow, we lose it out. We have that quest for perfection. And Valmiki was innocent at heart, even at that age. Hence, he had that quest. He had that unquenching thirst to know about perfection. Hence, he began with the question in the starting of Ramayana. All right. Now, we are talking about Ramayana, and it seems as if it has come and fallen on our lap all of a sudden. Is there any background to Ramayana? Is it the original one, or does it derive ideas from anywhere? Is it the original one, or does Ramayana have an origin as well? Ramayana too has an origin, as do all our Shastras, as do all our customs and traditions. Veda is the origin of Ramayana as well. There's an interesting study. Veda is a set of mantras. We all are aware of it. Veda means knowledge, a set of mantras, fine. But there's a difference between Veda and Vedartha. There are only few people who are eligible to utter or chant Vedic mantras. Fine, let's not debate about that, because it's going to take a lot of time to take a decision on it. Whereas Vedartha, every single soul on this earth is eligible to understand Vedartha. So this Vedartha is at the heart of Ramayana. That is the reason why you may have heard about the Shastra called as Mimamsa. It's a famous Shastra. And the Mimamsa Shastra, it begins with a simple sutra. The Mimamsa Shastra sutra, it says, Athato Dharma Jignasa. What do they mean by Dharma Jignasa? They want to know about Dharma. That's it. That's all. So they want to know what is Dharma. What is Dharma then? Dharma is nothing but Vedartha. Because Mimamsa Shastra says that you are eligible to study the Shastra of Mimamsa only when you have studied Veda. So in order to understand Dharma Jignasa, in order to know, in order to discuss about Dharma, one needs the eligibility of understanding Vedas. So basically, what are they trying to say in Mimamsa? They are trying to define the Dharma. They are trying to define the Vedartha. So Vedartha is equal to Dharma, and Dharma is equal to Rama. It's not different from one another. Therefore, this is the reason why the famous line in Ramayana where Valmiki says that Vedopa Brahmanarthaya Tavagrahayata Prabhu. He was worried. He had composed the entire Ramayana, 24,000 ślokās, beautifully composed. Now he was looking for people who can execute it. Because if you have composed something and if there are no people to sing it out, then your composition is of no use. So Valmiki was looking out for two beautiful singers. And at that time, when he was looking out, Lava and Kusha appeared and he taught them. And Lava and Kusha thus sang the entire story of Ramayana. This is how the story goes. Now, when he decided that Lava and Kusha are the ones who can carry forward this epic, this kavya to the world, he says that they are Vedeshu Parinishthito. They are well versed in Vedas. This was the definition. This is the attribute. This is the adjective used by Valmiki to describe Lava and Kusha. He also explains them as Sri Rama's sons. They both appeared as if a spitting image of Rama. He says that, but that's not the most important adjective for Lava and Kusha. The effective adjective used by Valmiki to describe Lava and Kusha is Vedeshu Parinishthita. Both of them were immersed in Vedas. They were good in Vedas. Hence, to make the Vedartha, to protect the Vedartha, and to carry forward it, and to pass it on to the next generation, he took them both under his wings. He taught them. So this is how Ramayana started. Ramayana, the sole purpose of Ramayana, through this we can understand, that is the story of Dharma. Ramayana is not just a story of a prince hailing from the city of Ayodhya. Ramayana is a story of Vedartha. Ramayana is a story of Dharma. So this entire thing can be understood in the word Ramayana. When we look at the word Ramayana in Sanskrit language, the word Ramayana can be derived in several ways. There are plenty of ways through which we can derive the word Ramayana. The first and foremost is Ramaha Ayanam Yasya. In all 7 vibhaktis, we can derive the word Ramayana. That is the beauty of it. What is the meaning of Ramaha Ayanam Yasya? It means that literature whose path, whose road is Rama or Dharma. Rama here means Dharma. So this is one definition of Ramayana. The second one is Ayanam means to go, going. The activity of going is also called as Ayanam. So our activity to go towards Dharma is also called as Ramayana. Ramam Prati Ayanam is also called as Ramayana. And the third one, Ramena Ghushtam Ayanam Ramayana. Ghushtam means walked. The path, the road walked by Rama, the road taken by Rama is called as Ramayana. The fourth one, the road taken to achieve Rama or to achieve Dharma. Here the word Rama refers to Dharma because the word Rama has plenty of meaning, plenty of meanings. The commentators have been fabulous in explaining. Valmiki's question consisted 16 virtues, 16 gunas. He asked that, is there a man in today's world who possesses 16 qualities? And Narada, in response to it, he said that, yes, there is a person who has not only these 16, but plenty more. All the great attributes that you seek in a person are present in one man, and that is Sri Rama. And that's why he's an epitome of dharma, because dharma means a condition, state of mind, a state where all these great virtues reside. It's only through virtues that we survive, that we live. So an epitome of all these virtues is Rama. All right. So, and this is the fourth one, Rāmāyana. The road taken towards Rama is also called as, towards dharma is also called as Ramayana. And fifth one, Rāmāyana, the road that has been made by Rama. If there is a path of dharma that we all can walk, it's because Rama has already walked it. He did not preach us. He walked the path of dharma himself, and then he showed us this is how we can survive in the path of dharma. The sixth one is Rama's Ayanam is called as Ramayana. This is the most famous one. Most of the commentators prefer this particular derivation. Ramasya Ayanam Ramayana. It's as simple as that. Rama's path, Rama's road is called as, the journey of Rama is called as Ramayana. And then Rame Ayanam, Dharme Ayanam, the journey in Dharma is called as Ramayana. So this is how the word Ramayana can be derived in 7 forms. Now, let us get to the story of Ramayana. Before we get into the story of Ramayana, how many versions of Ramayana could be there? Not when I say the word versions, I do not mean a Ramayana version available in Kannada, a Ramayana version available in Tulu or some other language. Of course, in India, in every language that is spoken, there is one or the other kind of Ramayana available to us. I am speaking about the various versions of Ramayana available in Ramayana itself, in the original Ramayana itself. Valmiki's Ramayana comprises 6 various versions of Ramayana. The available one to us is the last one. Before that, there were 6 different versions of Ramayana. The first and foremost version of Ramayana that we find within Ramayana is the conversation between Valmiki and Narada. This is how the story begins. This is the prologue of Ramayana. Valmiki had a question. He asked, is there a man in today's world with all the great attributes? He lists out the attributes. Gunavan, Kaschaviryavan, Dharmajnaha, Kritajnaha. He should be Satyavakyaha. He should always speak the truth. And when he gets angry, even the gods should fear him. He should be Atmavan. He should be self-reliable. And he should have control over his anger. He should be virtuous. He should be courageous. He should be kind to others. And he lists out. And Narada narrates the entire story of Ramayana, which we are going to see in a form of summary. This is the first and foremost version available to us. And then Valmiki was taken aback by the story of Rama narrated by Narada. Afterwards, he goes through a phase. He sees an episode where a crowncha bird is murdered, is killed by a hunter. We will discuss that in the later stages. And that makes him very sad. And he utters a shloka, and he was surprised by it. It was not entirely because of that particular episode that happened right in front of his eyes. He was immersed in the story of Rama that he had heard very recently from Narada. And then when Brahma appeared in front of him and he gave his nod, when Brahma gave Valmiki his nod to go ahead and write an epic, write a kavya on Rama, you know what is the first thing that Valmiki did? He closed his eyes. That's how great things are gone. He closed his eyes. Prachinaagreshu darbheshu dharmenanvekshate gatim. He sat, he meditated, and he envisioned the entire Ramayana in his heart. That, my friends, is the purest form of Ramayana available, which is inaccessible, unfortunately. Because It is with Valmiki. That is the heart of Valmiki. That is Valmiki's Hridaya. The purpose of Ramayana is to attain that stage where Valmiki saw the entire story of Ramayana in his heart. Every single detail envisioned by Valmiki in his heart. This is the second version available. The third one is his composition. He then composed a beautiful kavya consisting 24,000 shlokas, spanning across 500 cantos in 7 kandas, distributed in 7 kandas. That's how huge Valmiki Ramayana is. This is the third one. And the fourth one is in what peculiar way he gave an upadesha of these 24,000 shlokas to Lava and Kusha. Upadesha is always given in the form of a sutra, in the form of a formula, in a very short form. It's not given, it's not like all 24,000 shlokas were told by Valmiki to Lava and Kusha. He would have given them some insights, he would have given them some ideas, he would have sown some seeds in their minds, and those two boys would have picked up the entire story of Ramayana. So that is the fourth version available to us. And the fifth one is, as I said earlier, no composition is great until it is presented in front of a scholarly audience. Mahakavi Kalidasa in his Abhijnana Shakuntalam, in the beginning of Abhijnana Shakuntalam, says that unless the scholars are happy with my work has no value for it. I might think that I am the greatest poet ever, but until the scholars have spoken, if there is no approval from the scholars' end, then there is no point. Even Valmiki knew this. Hence, he called upon all the sages of the country. It was a great conference, the conference where all the sages were present. And in front of them, Lava and Kusha presented the Valmiki's version of Ramayana for the very first time. And that is the fifth version of Ramayana available to us. Later on, in between, they sang it many times in the streets of Ayodhya, as the story says. In the streets of Ayodhya, Lava and Kusha were narrating the story of Ramayana. And one fine day, it caught the attention of none other than Sri Rama himself. Rama was a living legend. He was walking past a road, and he heard these two young boys singing Ramayana. He stood there for a minute. He heard the story. He says, in Rama's own words, he says that Mama Pitad Bhutikaram Prachakshati. This makes me, even me, who is actually the part of the story, on whom this entire story is, even to me, this sounds mesmerizing. This feels so beautiful even to me. I have lived it. Rama had lived all these incidents, and yet he felt that this sounds so great. And then he brings both those boys, Lava and Kusha, without knowing that they were his children. He brings them both to his asthana. And then in his asthana, he asks them both to sing the story of Ramayana. And that is the sixth version of Ramayana available to us, where the young boys, Lava and Kusha, sang the entire story of Ramayana. These are the different versions of Ramayana available to us within the Ramayana. Now, let us just see how the prologue of Valmiki Ramayana is. He sets up a beautiful background on why and how did he begin this epic work. Valmiki has to state this. How did he begin his epic work? How did the journey began? So once upon a time, Valmiki had a visitor, and that visitor was none other than Narada. The moment we hear the word Narada, we assume, or wrongly assume, that he is the one who brings some problems within people. No. He also has other adjectives. He also has other qualities. He is the only one who knows everything that has happened, that is happening, and that shall happen in future. He is a Trikala Jnani, Narada. That's why Valmiki felt that I cannot find a better person than Narada to ask this question. He begins by asking, Kon vasmin sampratam loke? Is there a man with all these great virtues? And then, as I said, Valmiki mentions only 16 attributes, 16 virtues, and Narada, he begins narrating the story of Rama. And while narrating, in the beginning itself, he multiplies those virtues by 4. There are 64 virtues mentioned by Narada about Rama in the beginning itself. All these things happen in the first 18 shlokas of Valmiki's Ramayana, in the first chapter itself, the first sarga itself. 64 virtues. Do you know how Narada begins to narrate Rama? He starts with his appearance, his physique. How was Rama? How did he look? That he had broad chest, Mahoraskaha. And then Gudha Jatruhu. He had good muscles. Ajanubahu. His shoulders were leaning up until his knees. And that's how beautiful Rama was. That's how handsome Rama was. Why did Narada narrate the physique of Rama? Is the question here. The answer is very simple. Mahakavi Kalidasa has decoded this mystery. He says that Akara Sadrisha Prajna. We get our intellect similar to our physique. It's a proven thing. We get our intellect similar to our physique. Prajnaya Sadrishagama. Our knowledge is similar to our intellect. However, we think we gain that kind of knowledge. Prajnaya Sadrishagama. Agamai Sadrisharambha. Our knowledge denotes our activities, our actions. Our actions are defined by our knowledge. Our knowledge is defined by our intellect. Our intellect is defined by our physique. So Rama's physique plays a major role, and we can see the same version enhanced even beautifully, even more beautifully by none other than Hanuman in Sundarakanda. When he speaks to Sita, this is how Hanuman gains the confidence of Sita, by describing Rama. So Rama had various virtues. He was like Samudra. He was like an ocean when it came to Gambhirya. And when it came to Dhairya, courage, he was like Himalaya himself. And at the same time, he was Somavat Priyadarshana, as pleasant as moon, and as outrageous as Kalagni, as Pralayagni himself. This is how Rama was. How can we imagine one man having all these qualities put together in him? He must have had a great control over himself. That is why they always say that Rama had gained self-control. Jitatma, that is one of the major virtues that Rama had. He had control over himself. If we have conflicting things within ourselves, we don't know how to control the emotions. I can also get angry. We can also get angry. And we can also be pleasant at times. But we cannot be as pleasant as Rama, or we cannot be as angry as Rama. There's a small example that I usually say. See, even we get angry at people, at things, at various situations and circumstances. Even Rama got angry. Do you know when did Rama get angry? He waited for 3 days. He asked, he pleaded the king of ocean to give him the pathway to cross the ocean so that he can get back his wife. The king of ocean did not respond for 3 days. He kept quiet. At the end of the 3rd day, sounding like a cloud with that voice, Rama asks Lakshmana, bring me my bow and arrows. I'll finish him off. I will finish the entire ocean. I will dry up the entire ocean. Let us walk the ocean. This was Rama. And when he got angry, even the king of ocean had to come forward. He begged for mercy. He pleaded for mercy. That's how powerful, that's how effective Rama's anger was. We get angry, and not even a single leaf on a tree gives a damn about our anger. That's our anger. And that is Rama's anger. How was he able to manage that? Look at the depth of the emotion that he had. And all of it, all those virtues comes to only one point. And that point is to be able to have control over it, to be above it, to maintain them in a state of mind. That is why Rama is nothing but dharma, because dharma means a condition, a state, a phase, and Rama is an epitome of it. So Narada says that this Rama, this fellow, he had so many virtues, and his father Dasharatha was so happy. Every father will be happy about their sons, and especially if the son turns out to be like Rama, which father will not be happy? There is not a single family in India where the father has not dreamt or not wanted his son to be like Rama. And the mother has not wanted her child to be like Krishna during his or her childhood. That's the amount of influence these two great things, or now I have to call it a thing because they are not people, they are not persons, they are something beyond it. Rama and Krishna, they have had this kind of influence on all of us. So Dasharatha was very happy with his virtuous son Rama, and he wanted to coronate him. He wanted to name him the heir to the throne of Ayodhya. Everything was set. And finally, at one unfortunate moment, his wife, his own wife, Dasharatha's own wife, his beloved wife, she said, no, this cannot go on. I cannot accept this. You have to make Bhārata the king of Ayodhya and not Rama. And thus began the journey of Rama. Everything was set. He was supposed to be coronated tomorrow morning. And tonight, Dasharatha calls him and says that, my dear son, you have to leave for forest. He was very happy. He had no changes in his face. He accepted. And along with him went Lakshmana and Rama's wife, Sita. All of them went to the forest. Meanwhile, Dasharatha, since he had to let go of his son, he was devastated by that. And he is no more. Bharata was called upon. He was at his maternal uncle's house, spending his vacation. He was called upon. And when Bharata came to know, as soon as he entered Ayodhya, he came to know that Rama is no more. Rama has been sent away to forest, and Dasharatha is no more. Bharata did not want to sit on the throne. He had no expectation of it, had no desire to sit on the throne. So Bharata, he took the entire army of Ayodhya. He took the entire city of Ayodhya, not just the army. He took the entire city of Ayodhya and went to Panchavati, where Rama was staying, with the help of Rama's best friend, Guha. Guha was the one who helped Rama cross the Ganges. He was the one who helped Bharata to find Rama as well. Now, Rama and Bharata, they saw each other, they hugged each other. It's a beautiful moment. And then began one of the greatest ever conversation that you will ever find in the entire history of literature, Rama and Bharata. Bharata had an argument saying that you are the eldest son, the throne rightfully belongs to you, so you must come back. When you hear the conversation, when you hear the arguments made by Bharata, we feel that yes, Bharata is right. Bharata is absolutely right. There is no way Rama can deny this. And then Rama comes back with a response. And when we hear the responses of Rama, we feel that yes, Rama is correct. So that's how that conversation goes on. And finally, Bharata was sent away by Rama. Bharata made a vow that he shall not enter Ayodhya without Rama. So he takes a new village called as Nandigrama. And later on, Rama decides that it's not better for me, it's not safer to be in the same place since everybody knows my address. Everybody has my location. So anybody can pop in at any time and people won't stop coming to me. So he decides it's not that Rama did not want people to come to him. He just did not want to disturb the sages who were residing in the proximity of Chitrakuta. If you disturb the rishis, they have chosen Chitrakuta to do penance. They don't want visitors. They don't appreciate visitors. So Rama left Chitrakuta and he went to Panchavati. And one unfortunate day, Shurpanakha came calling. She saw Sita. She was attracted towards Sita. She wanted to eat Sita. And somehow it was stopped and she was disintegrated. And that made her furious. Shurpanakha goes back to her cousins, Khara and Dushana and Trishiras. They came with an army of 14,000 men and Sri Rama destroyed them in a span of less than an hour, all alone. What kind of a great warrior Rama was, we cannot even begin to imagine. And then at this moment, when Ravana came to know that his cousins have been killed by one person, single-handedly, he conspired with Maricha and he kidnapped Sita. And thus began Rama and Lakshmana's quest to find Sita. They crossed the great Pampa lake. They came in contact with Hanuman, Sugriva. Rama and Sugriva became friends. Sugriva had his own issues. He had some brotherly issues. He told him, my brother is bothering me. He said, okay, fine. I will handle him. We are friends. Your friends are my friends. Your enemies are my enemies. So Rama took care of Vali. And then Sugriva had promised him that he will find out Sita for him. And then he sent his army to all the 4 directions. Finally, Hanuman was able to enter into Lanka. He was able to identify Sita. He was able to speak with Sita. He got her Rama's message and he received Sita's message as well, Hanuman. And then before coming back, he thought that let me give a test of, let me see how good Ravana's army is. So he took upon him the entire army of Ravana and he finished 1/4 of Ravana's army single-handedly, Hanuman. And then he came back, he told Rama about Sita. And then Rama decided that we shall take the entire Vanara army, we shall cross the ocean, which has never been done before. And they crossed the ocean, they defeated Ravana, they got back Sita. And then they ruled for a very long time. And whatever happened later on, that will be narrated in the Uttarakanda. So this is the story very briefly narrated by Narada to Valmiki.